How's everybody doing? It is yours truly, Rick the Prince. We are here for Beneath the Surface, episode 3. We have the talented, the charismatic Boregard. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the warm introduction, really.
I tried, but were you were protesting today, correct?
No, I was going to, but then some family stuff came up today. But I do plan on going out later in this week when I can.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Everything okay, though?
Yeah, just throw a prayer up for, me and my family. That's all I ask. I don't want to dive too deep, but that's all. I'll just ask for a prayer from everybody. Everybody can use some prayer,
Yeah, absolutely. Prayer for sure during this time, man. I wanted to talk about, everything that's been going on right now. I feel like history is, repeating itself yet again with all of this injustice and everything that's been happening. I want you to speak on, this moment as an artist for once, everything that we're going through right now.
It's just a scary time, just for mothers and children, just because, when you go out, it's a risk. Every day you wake up as a Black individual in this country, it's just being made clearer and clearer every day that our lives are not worth nearly as much as, our white counterparts. And it just makes it hard to coexist. It makes us want to resent each other. And I don't want to say that I resent, white people or anything to that effect, but
Right.
I'm dead tired of this racism. I'm dead tired of seeing this stuff in the news every day. Another Black individual being gunned down, unarmed, unfairly. I really don't believe there are very few people who quote unquote deserve to die on this planet. So it's just like,
Right.
for these people who are just unarmed, minding their own business, doing their own thing, to be the targets of this violence is just nonsensical. I'm in full support of all the protests, everything that's going down. I want everybody to pay attention because, there are agitators. There are people who are trying to delegitimize the movement, people who are trying to talk down on it or infect it with not only ulterior motives, but sometimes their motive is to paint it in a bad light. People want to act like Black Lives Matter is something close to a terrorist group. How can you say that? These people are simply trying to advocate that their life means something. It's almost like the two is silent because it's like, we know it's clear that everybody else's lives matter. You know what I mean? But we're saying
Right.
Black Lives Matter because it
Yeah.
seems like y'all don't think that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like, so for people to combat a movement like that, it just it makes me very sad for the state of the world. And I'm looking to share as much information as I can. I try to keep my socials updated. I try to tweet what's or retweet at least the things that look legitimate or just things that look informative, anything that could be found as helpful information. That's what I've been able to do. I am going to be looking to donate some soon as well, but we some artists out here. It's hard, but any way that I can help, that's what I'm really looking to do. But it is just a hard time for all of us. I wake up and I start scrolling through these news stories. Even just today, there was another man that died this morning in Louisville, David McAtee. He was unarmed. He was shot by police. Y'all could look up that story. The last name is McAtee, David McAtee. Look up his story. He just got shot this morning. They're awaiting the surveillance video, but he was gunned down not too far from his own business that he owned, And it's just like,
Wow.
Amidst this, like, it's just so crazy how, they want to call out violence and all of this stuff, but it was like, where was your outrage when these people were being gunned down in the streets? It's like, you're worried about Target, you're worried about the Gucci store, like,
Right.
they're gonna freaking bounce back. Like, let's not even play. They're gonna bounce back easily, but a mother's not gonna quote unquote bounce back from the death of her son.
Exactly. Now, I wanted to talk about you for a second, and your family. Now, your parents are from Sierra Leone, correct?
Yeah, they're both from Sierra Leone, but they met in America, in Atlanta, actually.
Okay. Okay. So, do you know what brought them to the States? When and why?
Well, there was a lot of civil unrest early on, in my mom's life when she was in Sierra Leone.
Uh
So,
huh.
there it kind of made life hard on them. So, like, there really was a journey to get to to America. It started with one of her sisters, and then they all gathered here. And my mom and her sisters are inseparable. So when
Right.
one ended up in Atlanta, they all ended up in Atlanta in different sides of the city. But it
Right.
was honestly, it was various factors that came into place for why they needed to leave Sierra Leone. We love Sierra Leone, of course. Like, they go back and they visit, but at the time when they left, just know that they did have to leave. It was just a matter of them doing what was best for them. Because if you ever read up on it, there was a lot of civil unrest in Sierra Leone. A lot of
Yeah.
things were going down, even up to the '90s, all the way back to the '50s and '60s.
Right. Right. So, I wanted to ask you, like, from your family being from there and that culture, how has that, molded you as an individual?
What's up? As an individual, um, I would say it's taught me. Now, I don't know how much I would attribute just because to Sierra Leone and to my parents, just because I really haven't had the chance to immerse myself in Sierra Leonean culture. Like, I've been once, and
Uh huh.
I'm very proud of my culture. But I will say my parents, they were just big on being very well spoken, articulate, having manners, showing respect, having mutual respect for people. And that's just and humbling ourselves, and
Right.
I've always succeeded in life when I've humbled myself, and I'm so thankful to this day from my mom for instilling that in me, because that's one of the I feel like that's one of my best qualities, is that I know how to speak to people and, communicate, without escalating situations. Even when it is a matter of conflict, I just know how to get my point across. Like, that's something my mom really instilled in me. I appreciate that. And that may have to do with her upbringing as well. But
Yeah.
I really attribute that to my mom more than anything.
Now, not no mean to change gears, but I wanted to talk about your background in theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, when I found this out, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised because listening to your music, you always can tell when an artist has had some type of background in like theater or acting, because you can sense the charisma, you can sense like the art of entertainment. You know what I mean? It's just always
Hmm.
like Nicki Minaj. We know Nicki Minaj has a background in theater, and she's
Hmm.
very animated, and she has created this whole brand
Persona.
around that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I want you to just talk about your experience and how that has molded you as an artist.
Oh, well, theater was definitely a huge part of my artistry, because I actually got into it in high school, because I think it was either junior year. Like, when I was in high school, I was just like kind of into sports. I tried to run cross country, tried to play basketball.
Uh
It wasn't for me. If I'm being honest today, I could say that and not be
huh.
ashamed. But I was doing all that stuff. But then the signs really started coming, because I found out I had tendonitis in my knees. So I really couldn't even run cross country, which I was like, dang, like that was the sport I was playing, you know what I'm
Oh
saying? But
wow.
uh just I still wanted to be active, be busy after school. So I was taking drama that year, and my drama teacher, even though like I had very limited involvement at the time, like before, I'd always wanted to be a background character, or like, just really wanted to just be there, not really. But junior year, I remember, that happened to me, and I just had so much more free time on my hands. She was like, honestly, you should put yourself out there. I really do think you could do that.
Uh
And
huh.
even the role that she wanted me to play was controversial. Um, I don't know if you there's this book or there's a play. It's based on a true story. It's called The Yellow Boat,
Okay.
and what it's about is kind of the hysteria surrounding AIDS. Like I can't remember the era now, but it was like a true story based on the playwright's son. He had a he developed AIDS due to a faulty blood transfusion because
Okay.
at the time he was a hemophiliac, so he was getting a blood transfusion and they weren't really checking for it at the time. It was a new thing at the time, so they didn't
Yeah.
really know. And he got it, and like it kind of shows what he went through, the alienation and all that stuff. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna play a boy that has AIDS. Like, oh, it can't be me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Ah!
remember saying that at first, and then even like my mom was like, like, what's wrong with that? And like I even realized I was being insensitive to the issue too. So it made me jump in. I jumped in 2 feet in, and I embraced it. I did research. I educated myself, and not only did I like have like loads more respect for everyone who goes through that because it's something serious, but it was kind of interesting to put yourselves in the position of someone who was persecuted for that reason, because it's like today, it's unfair to treat people who have AIDS or HIV like they're any different. They're just dealing with the disease. So that was a good first experience. But you got to break out of your shell. You're pretending to be an 8-year-old on stage,
Yeah.
and then after that, I was in The King and I played the king. Like I went from nothing to something in what like it was crazy. But yeah, I just remember the way I would make people feel. Like my family members would come to the shows and even they would be like, "Oh my gosh, you drove me to tears with this," or "Oh, I was like dying laughing at that." And it kind of took me back to the ways I would feel when I would listen to some of my favorite rap songs, and I started to see the
Yeah.
connection. And I was writing at the time, but I wouldn't have dared, like, publicly outside of my English class, even like my talent show. I think the first time I actually rapped at a talent show wasn't until I was like a junior or senior. Like, and I was writing, before high school, but like, I was just so scared. I had to stage fight. I was doing everything else. But once I broke out of my shell doing that theater and I was like so used to the stage, I just started embodying some of the same practices, even to the point where I was doing some of the same warm-ups. And like on my project Monologue, like, it's definitely inspired by that a little bit. Like I have like a skit on there where I'm doing literally the theater vocal warm-ups we used to do at my high school, which was like
Yeah.
tongue twisters and deep breaths
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And it's just it just let I just think that the connection between the two, theater and music, is just undeniable. They really do go hand in hand. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
when I strengthened my skills in theater, I all it took was applying them to my music, because I went from being stage fright to now it's like I might even mess up a lyric on stage. I'm like, okay, what's next? Like, but so, and that used to be my worst fear. So I'm happy that I've gotten over that now. I mean, I'm not eager to mess up on stage. I try to put up a good show every time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
it just let me let loose, because the show goes on, and you learn that in theater. You forget a line on the night of the show goes on. You can recover. You can always do that. So it just kind of was like a lesson of like, don't let your anxiety control you. Don't let your fear control you. That's what theater is. Because I mean, look, theater kids are some of the most bravest kids I know in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that they're portrayed in pretty much every media. For you to in real life go do that and and like just unabashedly accept the social consequences of that, whatever they may be, you have to be an internally strong person. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I used to do theater, it's definitely like nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
Because there have been times where I would like forget my lines, and just that moment on stage where you're a little
Hmm.
kid and you forget your lines, it's
No,
just like
man.
it crushes
It's,
you know what I mean?
you know?
But those moments really mold you and like build you up, like you said, for sure.
Oh yeah. It just makes you like especially when you realize that you have a message that you want to share, you want to get stuff off of your chest, it makes you realize that, like, man, we're all imperfect. We're not, nothing flows like it does in the movies where like they have these perfect conversations, but we still have these real emotions. We still have these real sentiments, that we share amongst each other. So it's like, if you're too scared that you might mess up, you're not even going to succeed. If you scared to fail and you don't try, that's 100% the way you're never going to succeed that way. You know what I mean? Does that make
Exactly.
sense?
Yeah.
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 Like when they say that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, like as cheesy as that sounds, as often as they say that, it's honestly, who can debate the factuality of that? You know?
Right. Now, I wanted to talk about your time at Emory University.
Okay.
Now, I want to talk about this because I feel like this is an important phase in your life and in
It
your
definitely was.
music career. During this time, you were able to open for Ty Dolla $ign, correct?
Yes, I was.
Like these are like moments that artists, especially like as a student, with so many artists in college and things like that, have these goals that they want to reach, and you were able to, work hard and actually get these opportunities. I want you to talk about that whole phase in your life of music and getting these opportunities to do these things.
Okay. Well, I will say, I'll preface this by saying that I'm not there yet, but you can ask any of my friends. I'm one of the most persistent people when it comes to my dream. Like, from when I had my first show at Masquerade,
Mm-hmm.
every single person who considered themselves an acquaintance of Bo got a text from me. I'm telling them when that show was, how much it cost, et cetera, et cetera. Like, my friends know I'm tireless with my dream. When I see something and I really do want it, like, I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm not really worried about how people perceive me. So I think at Emory, that energy and that passion, again, I bring that word into it, but that passion kind of shone through because, like, I started off at Oxford College, and even as soon as I got there, any performance opportunity I had, I was like, yo, you said there's gonna be 10 people in this room, but a mic and a speaker, okay, people performing, sign me up. I didn't
Right.
even, I was like, any opportunity, and it started, luckily, during orientation week. They had a talent show. I had a chance to do my rap, killed it. People were taking videos. They knew me as a rapper. They introduced me to the other musicians on campus, which was so clutch. And that's why I will say to any artist that I won't condemn anyone who drops out of school, because if you know what you got to do, you can do it. Da 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 da. But don't think you need to, because school was very helpful in my journey. I met some of my best collaborators that I know today because I went to school, I went to class, and just met them on campus.
Yeah.
Sometimes we didn't even have the same major, but just being on the campus with a bunch of people who are trying in the early stages of chasing their dream, the creative boundaries that you'll unlock it's like, come on, you just got, when you have that many hungry, creative, young individuals with that much time on their hands, like, something good will come of it. But I really just worked on that, getting my name around campus. I remember there were times where it felt like it was falling on deaf ears, but I didn't let it discourage me. I just kept rapping. I remember the first thing I did that kind of like got anyone's attention on campus. I did a remix to FDB by Young Dro, and like I rapped over that, and people were
Yeah.
like, okay, like, oh, like he's kind of fine, you know what I'm saying? And I did
Uh-huh.
some over some Migos, like, so I was 2 for 2, and they're like, okay, he got 2. And then I like the original song that I released was this song called "Honey, Did You Know About This,"
Uh-huh.
which now has a part 2, but that was part 1 at the time, or it wasn't called part 1, but it just was. But "Honey, Did You
Right.
Know About This?" And I remember being in disbelief at the numbers it was doing, because I wasn't really doing numbers. I was getting these opportunities, but I remember thinking, man, which one of my friends got this thing on repeat at their house? Like, stop playing with me, like. And people were
Yeah.
like, bro, like, I'm dead ass. Like, I mean, I like the song, but I only played it a few times. Like, and I was just like, huh? Like, and like it was real. You know, people were actually intrigued and listening. And then my friends were telling me, "Oh, I was at this frat party last night. They played Honey. Did you know about this?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, okay, I did something, you know." And I just remember honestly linking with the other artists on the campus and stuff like that. And one and my dream was to do the spring concert the moment that because the first year we got there, they had Chance the Rapper. The second year they had J. Cole. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like to open for them will be such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, what do I have to do? I just remember at that point asking around, and like they would give me answers and trust, like they was really trying me. They'd be like, oh, you gotta do more shows in the city. What? I went crazy in the city that summer. I was like, all right, look at all these pictures, all these videos from shows. They're like, okay, you gotta do XYZ. I did it. You gotta get this many people to say this. I did it. You know, to the point that
Oh, they
senior
was making
year,
you worse.
you know what I mean? Senior year came around, and they said, I don't know if you remember what happened in 2013 at Emory. Emory they thought they booked Amigos. LOL, that's really funny. But they went through some agency, and it wasn't even until like a couple days before the concert that people started saying like, "Yo, the Migos are definitely booked to perform the same day in like Louisiana." Like,
Right.
I don't think they gonna beat us at. And then like it was so crazy, but like already at that point I had found out who I needed to talk to. I was in their email, I was in their inbox, all that stuff. I had everybody, petitioning on my behalf, and it was just like I really just did the research and I put the work in, but yeah, Emory definitely got jugged. And they got Ty Dolla $ign, but
Yeah.
just because of my persistence, they were like, we do have a replacement act, but like literally you've been on this for as long as we can remember. How would you like to open for him? And I remember that moment was just like, it felt so full circle because it just felt good to be recognized by the student body as a whole in such an official way.
Yeah.
Because, which was like nice. I know there were still some people who were hating on me, and y'all could stay mad. There was like, oh, who's this kid that gets a reward? Y'all could stay mad. I opened for Ty Dolla $ign. Ha ha. But yeah, there's some people that were hating and they were trying to talk. Even but yeah, like I had a great time. It's a memory that I'll never forget. Like honestly, I've had some of my best times at Emory. I threw a couple crazy parties too. There was my 20th and my 21st birthday at Emory. I thought I was gonna break something for real. Like, so it's like I put in my work at Emory's campus, and I think they rewarded me with support. Because a lot of times, I would get some of them to come to some of my shows off campus. It's not like I would ever have the entire student body leaving Emory, but it was enough support to kind of fuel me and to continue to give them good stuff. I really appreciated my Emory family there. They know who they are. I'm not gonna go name by name. Of course, my roommates. I don't think my roommates missed a single one of my events, and that was really big for me. I'll say their names:
That's what's
Lucas,
up.
Rashab, Adrian. Like, there wasn't a thing that I was doing that if they weren't clocked in at work or in class, they were trying to be there. And like, that was just so big for me to have people care like that. Because there would be some days where I wanted to give up. I wanted to just stay in bed. And like when you know that there's people who believe in you like that, it's really great. So shout out Rashab, Adrian, and Lucas. And Mike, he wasn't my roommate, but that was my good friend. I'm not going to name any more names. But yeah, you know who you are.
Yeah. Now, in 2018, you released the rap game Bo Jackson Volume 1.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Right? Does it seem like it was a long time ago?
It really don't feel like it. It's really crazy to think it's 2020 right now.
Right. That project, that was the first project that I listened to of you, and I feel like it definitely gave like a good representation of your style, your wittiness, your charisma, all throughout that project. I want you to take me back to that time, getting that project together, and all the emotions and things that you were going through during that time.
Okay, well, it really, it's just its place in the chronological order of my projects is also very significant. Cause my very, very first mixtape, my debut, I've hidden it well. So y'all not even gonna find that. But after that, I put out Trust Fall, and that was like the first thing that I chose. Like I went and I seeked out all the beats. I saw firsthand each track get mastered. I had to go through so many different services. Before the first one, my homie Sensei Bueno, he went crazy. He produced the whole thing, mixed basically the whole thing, except like one track we got mixed in the studio. But like, that was when we were both young, you know what I'm saying? But Trust Fall 2 was my first like solo venture. So, or Trust Fall 1.
Right.
I'm spoiling stuff. There will be a Trust Fall 2. Now y'all know. But yeah, so Trust Fall, that was like my first solo venture, and it was fun. And like a lot of people kind of saw my lyricism, and like they saw, kind of my curation, my vibes, stuff like that. And then Monologue, I wanted to extend that again. That is the project that I did feel like I rushed a little bit. So the next project, I just knew I had to do something special. I had to do something different, even to the rollout, and it at first I was thinking, how can I give a body of work to the people in just a refreshing way? And I was at first, that's when I decided to do a single a month on the 13th of every month. I don't know why I chose 13. I just like that number. But I wanted to drop a single, and like I remember there like some of my friends were like, man, I don't know about all that, but like it ended up being really good for me. I had more songs to get attention that way with that constant flow of releases, and then like I feel like because of that, each track was able to get some individual attention. And then I was spending a lot of time preparing for that. Like, so my homie Najee, that's my boy. We did a internship together, and then we kept in touch. That's still my homie to this day. Like, if I really need that fi mix, you know what I'm saying? I know he's gonna get me right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I used to just literally, my schedule would be go to work in the morning, get off work, go to Najee's, like stay at Najee's till 4 or 5 a.m. Then, go back to like, my residence, you know what I'm saying? And maybe get a couple hours of sleep, back to work. And, and I was trying to get music videos done all that time. But in that process, I was getting a lot of songs done. Like, I originally was like, just because I was like, I can't have 12 songs and call it a day. It really has to be the best 12 songs that I'm capable of, putting out per se. You know what I'm saying? So like I was just making them to make them, because I was like, if I make a better one, it's gonna take the place of one of the previous 12s. I'm not in love with these songs, like, like, oh, I have to drop this. Like I tried to ditch that mindset, but it was really just me putting myself in that position to go through extreme workflow and really wanting it. And as a result, I feel like I had more than 12 quality songs. Then I didn't want to release an album, but then I felt like this is kind of the reason why I didn't want to release it. And I feel like I did kind of get over this issue because I've made more and more quality. So it really kind of came together. I kind of decided in the middle of the year that was what was going to end up happening. Like, but in the beginning, there wasn't going to be The Rap Game, Bo Jackson. It was just going to be those singles just out and about. But when I compiled them all together, and I threw like 8 or 6 exclusive tracks on there. So like and like some of those exclusives ended up being some of people's favorite on there too. So I'm happy that I did do it. But like it ended up feeling like one of the most well done rollouts, and it was one of my most streamed projects for a reason. Like,
Yeah, what, Bruce Lee working, bro?
Oh yeah, too many classics. Plans, Bruce Lee, Africa by Toto. Like, I did not expect Africa by Toto to go up the way that it did. Like, if you told me that on my album that had Plans, Bruce Lee working, Honey, Did You Know About This Part 2, that Africa by Toto was gonna be the biggest song on there, I would have laughed at you. Even when I remember I wrote that song, like I like to write in the studio now, but it was one of the last songs that I actually wrote outside of the studio,
Mm,
where I was like practicing it and da, 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 so I could go to the studio and, do it. But
right.
I remember when I recorded it, it was like internally one of my favorites because it was so weird, but I was also very scared of how weird it was. And I remember showing it to my friends, trying to preface it, being like I'll show you, but it's just so weird. Like don't talk shit about me. Like it's a hella weird song. And they're like, just play it, just play it. And like even my friends were like, yo, this is bumping. Like what?
Yeah,
Like send me that. And I
yeah.
was like, maybe I'm like being harder than myself than I think, or I just need to give myself more credit. Maybe my weird is good. And I honestly just like, I went with my gut. My friend Anthony, he was doing all my covers at the time, and I sent him the song, and I was like, you've heard my output up to this point. Cause I think it was like June. Like, do you think this is like it's too left field? It's too weird. And he was like, honestly,
Hmm.
this needs to be the next single. This needs to be the next single. This is crazy. Like, and it went up. I remember thinking the same thing. I was like, man, are people fake? Like, who got this on repeat? I better stop playing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then people were tweeting about it. Like, I was like random people that didn't follow me. I was like, okay, like, but it went up, and it's a big hit at the shows too. Like, there's just some good lines in there. It's just one of those weird algorithm. I don't know how it worked out. It's just I do have some bars, and that is one of my favorite beats. But it also began the beginning of something beautiful,
Right.
because if you know, the producer of that track is none other than Ethan Lamb, and you know what me and Ethan can do. You know what me and Ethan be doing. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, that was actually from a beat pack he sent me, and that's the last time I recorded, or actually the second to last time I just recorded on a beat that he sent me. Because from then on, it was like, we linking up. I'm recording in person with you. You know what I'm saying? We had to link
Right.
up. We were getting those tracks done in person. The only other one I did was like, he sent me some beats when I was in another session because he couldn't come, and like me and another artist recorded on his beat. But pretty much every
Right.
time I've recorded on Ethan's beat, he's been there to do it, to record me. I trust Ethan a lot, since we've met, and he's been a big part of my career.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's very important for artists to take risks and step out of their comfort zone, because that's the only way that you can grow like artists.
Because
I
I was
want to
ready to
talk.
have that song in the vault. I was ready to just
Right.
keep Africa for the Total to myself. I was like, I'm never putting this out. So I'm just glad I did, because the trajectory that it changed, like it changed my life a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Right. And speaking of Lamb,
Hmm.
we bring ourselves to 2020.
Yes,
You
sir.
release Silence of the Lamb. Now this project,
The
man.
album of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I want you to talk about this project because I was listening to it, and I definitely think that it's different sonically and from what you've done in the past.
Hmm.
I feel.
Oh yeah, that was the one of my goals was to push myself creatively, because once I started linking up with Ethan in person, he wasn't really, I mean, I don't think any artist is really looking to just like, okay, time to make, slightly updated version of like what I've been making for the last few years. Again, it's like,
Right, right,
you
right,
wanna you wanna try to break through, you wanna try to expand your horizons and be versatile, et cetera, et cetera. So like, just, with being with Ethan, like I wouldn't, we would encourage each other, because I feel like there were some beats at first that he'd be like, oh, like, I don't know if you'll fuck with this. And I was like, let me hear it. And like, forcing myself to kind of like, how would I approach this? And it went from forcing myself to ask myself those questions to really almost looking forward to putting myself in those positions. Like, I used to be scared to sing, scared of the auto tune, thinking it was but like when I found a way to make it my own, to make it special to me, then
uh-huh,
I was able to embrace it a little bit more, and like I felt a little more comfortable using it. Because before I really didn't. Even when I used it, I was like, am I really doing anything like different with it though? But like he kind of pushed me to like play with it some more, and just to be more confident. And when you have someone who's talented, you take working with you, you take a risk. The same way I feel he feels the same way. Like I feel like he knows he can throw me this kind of off kilter, you know, a weirder beat because he knows I'm the type of artist that loves a challenge. Like we will both work together to solve the puzzle, and the puzzle is a
Right.
good song. You know what I'm saying? I guess
Right.
in that metaphor, but like we will work together to solve the puzzle. We'll I have pieces, he has pieces. We know what to do. We have a method of communication that like it makes it easier for us to work together. So we took advantage of that. It's funny because when we started working on that project, we thought it was going to be like 5 songs. We were like, yeah, 5 songs, and then we'll make like 12 and choose. That's 5. It ended up being like, you know, over a year from that point, still making new songs because like it just felt like every time we got back in the studio, we were one-upping something we'd already done. Like we just kept on, and it was like, well, if we keep doing that, why should we stop? So we kept doing
Right.
that for a while. And then I think when I finally realized like, okay, it's time to choose. It's time is when I made Beyonce Knows. That was the
Hey.
last, yeah. That's the last song I recorded on the album.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And again, I thought I was quote unquote done so many times before that, but something just kept bringing me and Ethan back in the studio. But when I made Beyonce Knows, I remember the day I made it. Like I was like, this song is serious. Like, cause we made Rematch. That's the last song on the album, the same day, and
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite songs too. Um, but and I remember we took the whole day working on Rematch, like because playing live guitar, we had another friend playing bass. We were, you know, Ethan had to arrange the beat certain way. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it pretty quick, but it was just a process because, you know, it was a lot went into that song and we wanted to get it right. And Beyonce
Right.
Knows was literally the after the fact song. It was literally the, okay, we spent however many hours on this unique ass instrumental. Can I just rap on one of your beats, please, Ethan? And he literally, the first one he pulled up, again, he was on that, oh, it's kind of weird. And I was like, load that up. And see, this is the debate me and Ethan have. He says I took an hour. I say I took 30 minutes. Maybe it's somewhere in between, but between an hour and between 30 minutes, the song was done. I'll say
Right.
that. You know what I'm saying? But he's talking about an hour. I'm like, man, it was like 30 minutes. I promise you. Because, like, we were so tired from the previous song. You know what I'm saying? He fell asleep for a few seconds. So I wrote my stuff and like that. And I remember I only took like a couple takes to go through the whole thing. So I know it wasn't no out. But he one day, you know, we'll get to the bottom of it, but whatever. But yeah, so it was a quick, it's just like the fact that that was like a after the fact song and that ended up being that is the biggest song on the project. You know, I thought Breakfast was gonna be the biggest song, you know, when I dropped it and stuff like that, but Beyonce just, you know, ran with it. You know what I'm saying? Got
Yeah.
the cosigns from, you know, Earth Gang and Troy Man, and I was like, wow, like maybe I'm onto something with this, you know.
Right. Now I know 2020, you know, is this has been like a crazy year. Where did you have like any touring plans for this project?
Most definitely, most definitely. I feel like when you put so much into a project like this, the way that I did, where like I went so hard with themes and the release parties, and you know, you know a tour is not far behind it. You know, I did a tour off of Breakfast, the single. I did a tour off the Bruce Lee video. I was really looking
Yeah.
forward to it. We had gotten our decks together to try to get sponsors and all that stuff. Like we were ready to go all out, and it just like
Yeah.
it's like COVID just sucked the life out of it, which is just like it was
Yeah.
unfair. But it's like I even had to cancel my own birthday celebration. You know, that was unfortunate. You know,
Yeah.
too. So it's like, but what happens happens. I'll live to tour another day. You know what I'm saying? But everything happens for a reason. You know, maybe by the time I'm touring again, the next project will be ready, and then I'll have two projects that I'm, you know, performing for the people. You know, so you know, I'm trying to think of the positives that could come out of it. I do, like I said again with those protests, like don't feel like you have to be on the front line, especially if you have family members at home with underlying conditions, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like I was even talking to my family today about other ways that, you can buy black, like this, let's just say you want to buy from exclusively black owned businesses for
Yeah.
the foreseeable future for a while. That's just one thing you can do, and it's just as helpful. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
as the people who are out there, there's so many ways that your impact can be felt, and I just don't want anybody to feel left out, but I do want everybody to find the way that they can contribute, even if even if you say every day I'm gonna retweet something about what's going on out there. Every day I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna give some new information to my 10 followers, even if it's as minimal as that. Like, this is the time for all of us to come together and everybody to play their part. So if that's your part, just do it, with a passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. Well, Bo, I want to say thank you so much, man, for coming through to Beneath the Surface, man.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. And that, man,
Of
I felt so honored, man. You know about me and my past and my story and stuff. I was like, okay.
Oh damn, man. Yeah, man. I've been listening. I've been listening to your music for a while, man. You're very talented, man. I want you to keep doing what you're doing, man. For sure.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Y'all make sure y'all stream Boregard. Make sure I go get that new project. Tour
Silent
coming
to the Lamb.
2021.
Hey, you know it.
You
And
feel
hey,
me?
when the next project come out, we gotta link it in person. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna
Yeah,
link in
man, for
person so we
sure.
could get that. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely wanted to have you, on set, for this, but I'm still glad we were able to do this for sure, man.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah, nah. Part 2 coming soon. Don't even worry about it.
Hey, all right, man. You be
Heck yeah.
safe, man.
All right, for sure. You too.
All right.